I've been tasked to make the most indestructible wargaming table I can. And the one thing that's normally the weakest is the trees. This is why I've chose to go with Woodland Scenics armatures. They're a bit on the small side, between 5 and 7 inches. You can make them a bit bigger by drilling holes in and adding another armature on top, which we have done for a couple of the more bigger trees. However, they're very robust. I think they're a thermoplastic that's very durable and flexible, which is one of the nature why I really like them. They're very quick to assemble and bend into shape and cut and work with. And they're also very cost effective. They work out about £1.50 to £2 a tree, and we built all 60 armatures up in literally an hour. Whereas if we were making wire armatures, I can tend to do about 2, 3, 4 a day depending on size. So that's why we're using the Woodland Scenics armatures. Now, to put these into the board, we apply screws to them. One, so we can screw it into the modelling compound and down into the board in certain areas. So they're not going to come free from the table. Now, the substructure is the most important part of the tree's look. I like seafoam. Seafoam is very, very fragile. So you might be asking, why the hell are you using it then? Well, we'll come back to that in a second. Now, I applied this with super glue. However, I looked over at Wayne after doing a couple of trees after about an hour, and I looked at him and I says, we're never gonna get this done. We're not gonna get this done. So I thought I'd try something different. Now, when I'm using my tree canopy sheets, we use contact glue. So I thought we'd try this Evo Stick Impact contact adhesive. It's so sticky, it's so easy to use. It's very messy though, and do use in a well ventilated area because it's got a hell of a pong. So what we do is we cover this all over the tree, and then we literally just place the seafoam onto them areas. And as you can see, it grabs instantly. And with this, we were able to knock out all the trees in a couple of hours. And it does work really well, guys. If you are interested in buying the glue, we do sell it on the store, but contact glue is just the future of making trees quickly. Now, the real task is making this seafoam durable. The way I do this is by using liquid latex. Liquid latex is amazing for this application. One, because it creates a skin around everything, so it attaches the seafoam in more areas, which glues that on better. But also, if you was to break the seafoam or damage the tree anyway, it adds a layer of protection to stop it falling off. It just sort of hangs there, which is good because it's staying on the tree and not falling off. And you can dip this multiple times. The only major issue with dipping it in latex is you get webbing on the tree, and you don't want that to dry, because if it does dry, you get a really unnatural skin in between all the branch work. And the way to get rid of all that is just by blowing on it. However, we was doing 50, 60 odd trees, so we decided just to use the airbrush because it blows all the cobwebs away, and it just leaves it without any big droplets on there. Now, the next day when these are all proper dry, we've got to paint them, and I want to try something new. And what I want to try is this. This is flexible fabric paint, and the reason I want to try this is because it's adding another layer of durability to the trees. It's like adding another layer of latex, hopefully. Let's see, it might just be like brown paint, but let's see, because it's very cheap. It's like £2 a can. And it's 200ml, so for about four or five quid, you're going to get yourself a normal can, which is quite cheap. So let's see how far this 200ml can will go. Now, seafoam does look quite nice on its own, especially if you're flocking straight afterwards. However, painting it first does add an amount of strength, and that was the idea with this flexible paint. Maybe it'll do a better job than just paint. Not very cost effective. It's done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 7.5 trees. We'll scrap that idea. We'll just use Quick Colour, which is a very cheap can from Sprayster online. I'll put links below. It's just brown paint, but I will compare the strength of the other stuff to this. I think it's going to be about the same after spraying it, but it's good to try things in it. Now, using the spray cans, I used 2 of them over all these trees, and there was no noticeable difference between the paint and the flexible paint. So just use cheap spray cans. These are £2.35 and I will link them below. Now for applying flock, I just use cheap clear varnish. The reason I use this, it's far cheaper than spray glues in the UK. This is again about £2, £3 a can depending on where you get it from. And it grabs foam flock very, very well. Now this is not how we seal it, this is just to get the flock to grab to the sea foam. Now foam flock is a very important part of trees. I'm using my mid green foam flock and dark and light. I just mix it up as I go to get some variation in colour. But foam flock takes on the sealing step and some of the varnish and helps it adhere to the tree because it soaks in. And this is why I always advise use foam flock for trees. Now to seal that in place, I use matte Scenics sealant. I spray that all over the trees and I absolutely soak them through. I think I used about 1 litre of glue over all these trees to soak them through. And the reason you do that is the matte Scenics sealant soaks right into the foam flock and it adheres it all to that sea foam. And with the latex that's on there as well, rubber's clingy. So it helps everything just stick and bond together. And this is the best way I've found for sealing foam to trees permanently. So it's been a good 24 hours and they're still losing a tiny bit of flock, not a lot. They're really robust, they're really solid now. But I'm going to give them another coat just to keep that flock on, and we need to make them indestructible for this next test. So let's get them soaked again. The flock that comes off from the first layer is just because the glue penetrates the flock and it falls through the trees. So you give it a light mist in the second time, just general coat, and that will cover it all. Once that's dry, we can beat the hell out of it. Pretty happy with that. That's pretty impressive. Still looks like a tree. All we lost was just a few tiny bits of bush. Indestructible wargaming trees. If it can take an axe, it can take a fat lad. We'll load of what's it's on his fingers, can't it? So, yeah, let's wrap that up. So guys, I think that's a nice compromise between looks and durability, don't you? They're not a bad looking tree, they're not my best, but they're very durable, and that's what this wargaming table that we're building is about. It's a 16x4 World War II gaming table that needs to look as nice as it possibly can be, but very, very durable because it's going up and down the country and all over the place, multiple people playing on it. And the one thing that's always a bit of a worry when it comes to gaming tables is the foliage, the trees, the bushes. There's going to be loads of it, and sealing flock. And I think we've nailed it. This is seafoam, guys. This is probably one of the most least durable things that anybody uses, and everybody hates using it because it's delicate, apparently. I think this proves a point. It's the nicest looking, and it can be robust with a bit of work. Trees aren't cheap to make at all. And this is possibly the cheapest, nicest trees you're going to be able to make. We was able to make 60 of these in about 2 days. There's a lot of drying times because of the glue, and they're going to get repeatedly sprayed a couple more times while they're actually on the gaming table. So they're only going to get stronger. What do you think to this technique? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because I absolutely love it. I just think nice trees are what's missing, and it'd be nice to get some even bigger trees to fill these out with, but we're not doing that. But anyway, guys, if you want to support the channel, you can buy all the materials used in this video below. So if you want to buy my seafoam, you want to buy the flock that I've used, and I will add, guys, if you want to see these in the final form, check out the later videos, because we are going to be adding a few more bits to these trees to make them stand out even more and look even better than they already do. This is more or less the base coat, but now we know they're robust enough, we can start making them look pretty. But I'll link all them videos in this video once they're up and running. And if you're waiting for that, they're coming very shortly. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you for the next videos. Love, love, love.